Hello and welcome to Megawatt News, the Tech Week in View. I'm Katie Scott and we're going to give you a rundown of the hottest stories of the week and our very own personal spin on them. Stay tuned. The Telegraph is reporting that Amazon.com, the world's biggest online retailer, is preparing to launch its digital music service, Amazon MP3, in Britain. Reviews stateside for Amazon's MP3 service have actually generally been very good. There have been some grumbles about the interface, but apart from that, most of the reviews seem very positive. The question in the UK about uptake is going to be whether or not Amazon is capable of luring people away from other services like iTunes. And most of the articles that I've read on this have basically said it's going to be a question of how low Amazon will go in terms of prices and whether or not they're prepared to make a loss just to pull people over to their new MP3 service. The rumour of a PlayStation branded mobile phone in production has been floating around cyberspace for what seems like years, but now we've got new juicy information on the topic. So the rumours about a Sony PSP phone have been floating around for what seems like absolute ages, but the rumours about problems between Sony and Ericsson are much newer, and I can understand where they've come from. Basically, the rumour was that Sony is going to actually produce the PSP phone by itself, and seeing as it's producing phones usually with Ericsson, where are the problems coming from? Well, PlayStation is a Sony brand. It's a very successful Sony brand, so you kind of understand why Sony wants to keep it to itself. After all, look at what happened with the Walkman. Now when people say Walkman, they think of the Sony Ericsson Walkman phones as opposed to the Walkmans, which were just media playing devices. So Sony wants to keep the PSP phone to itself. It wants all of the glory for what could be a highly successful gadget. Some of the biggest names in the mobile phone industry have joined together to take on Google's Android platform. Nokia, Sony Ericsson, Motorola and NTT Docomo have announced that they will unite the Symbian OS, S60, UIQ and MoApp to create one open mobile software platform. So the first step in the formation of the Symbian Foundation is for Nokia to buy out all of the shares that it doesn't already own in Symbian Limited. And this means buying shares off the likes of Sony Ericsson, and it will cost it a staggering €264 million. But my question is this: the Symbian Foundation is meant to be about openness, but how can it be when Nokia has such a vested interest? It wasn't the government this time, but yet again a CD with confidential personal information on it has been lost. Virgin Media has owned up to losing a CD with bank details for 3,000 customers on it. So Virgin Media has managed to lose lots of customers' information, but try this story on for size. Way back in January, a Royal Navy recruiter managed to leave his laptop in his car overnight, and the laptop and the car were stolen. On the laptop was information for 600,000 Royal Navy recruits. This isn't the only story that we've had this year. In fact, this is the third one. And what absolutely astonishes me is that people working for the MOD, or in fact any government information, aren't a bit more security savvy. CDs are easily lost, so why not just not take the CD with all of this precious information out of the office? Why not use technology to find another way of getting the information from one office to another? And with laptops, they're quite easily stolen. People like nicking them, and people like nicking cars. So why don't you try not leaving your laptop in the car, and perhaps not leaving the laptop in the car overnight when it's got even more chance of getting stolen and the information stolen with it. That was the Tech Week in View, our rundown of the biggest stories of the week and what we thought of them. Join us again on Monday for the usual daily news and views from the world of gadgets and technology, and in the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for watching.